We're going to take just a little bit of a time here and visit with Drew Blazsik because we love to figure out what's happening with our money. And he's the professor that has all the knowledge that we need, at least, and probably you do too. Morning, Drew. How are you?
Good. Good morning. How's everything going in the studio this morning?
So far, so good. We haven't broken anything, so,
that's good.
There's still time.
That's yeah, I got a little guest with me.
Yeah, it's Hannah.
Hannah. She's 5. And you want to say anything to the wisdom for the audience? There it is.
There it is. I love it.
You want to say hi to Mom? No, okay.
You can wave to Mom. You can just wave. Yeah, there you go.
There it goes.
I'll tell you what, it's great. I love it. She's a beautiful girl.
Thank you. Okay. So I found there's Alphonsus Liguori.
I know him. Yeah.
Has a book that is Theologia Moralis. There's a lot of Latin terms I'm going to say, so if I get it wrong, it's going to be probably
we won't know.
Bad. You won't even know. I'll just make it up.
Yeah.
It's like doing a different language here. But so he wrote a book. So he wrote on volume 3. He has about the 10 Commandments, and he has a whole section or a book on usury. And Ryan Grant, who's a Latinist, that's actually translating that as we speak for this volume, and I'm excited about when that comes available. But there's another Catholic website that hired some Latinists to actually translate it. And so it's online, and I got the 10 main points from this. So he's a doctor of the church. He was an Italian bishop, and he's considered the doctor of moral theology. He's maybe the biggest, I think he's the biggest doctor of the church with moral theology on it.
Yeah.
So here's Drew Blazsik's 10 points to that book.
I love it.
Which there's some pretty good insight here. Number 1, usury is condemned regardless of the borrower's wealth or loan purpose, which means, and what he did was he quote, and we talked about this in this in the podcast that Vix Prevenit by Pope Benedict XIV, and he quoted him. It said, "One cannot condone the sin of usury by arguing that the gain is not great or excessive, but rather moderate or small. Neither can it be excused by reason of the fact that one is rich." So he emphasizes that just because someone's rich, you cannot charge interest, even if the one who agrees to it.
Yeah.
Point number 2, I love this point here. And there's a quote in the 1100s from a pope that talked about it too. Time does not justify interest. And the quote, I remember in the 1100s, he said, "For God owns time. We cannot make money on time."
I love that.
Only time. So here's a key point here. The mere passage of time does not justify financial gain just based on time. In an economic class, we always talk about the time value of money. If you're just saying, because I'm holding on to a time, you cannot get financial gain. Money itself is sterile and does not generate wealth without labor, risk, or investment in productive use.
That's sterile.
Is sterile. So Aristotle talked about
okay.
it, that money does not produce anything. It's labor that does. And it's considered, so if you make money fruitful, that's an unnatural thing.
Gotcha. I love it. That's a smart guy.
Here's point 3. Risk must be real to justify compensation. Now, here's a tricky one. I was trying to look it up. What's the definition of risk? I think to us saying, it's risky to give my money out or something. But risk has always meant business activity. There is risk involved. Here's the key point. Compensation for risk or peculium sortis is valid only if the lender truly faces financial uncertainty. If the loan is guaranteed, no genuine risk exists, making any interest unjust. So what's a guaranteed loan? Think about a bank. Is it guaranteed for the house? If you don't pay your mortgage, are they protected? They take your house from you.
Yeah.
That's a guaranteed, that's no risk for the banks.
Gotcha.
Let alone the banks do not invest money that they have, they create money. So if you think about it in the strongest sense, if you base off the moral theology, banks giving more interest, making a profit off of loans on money they create is usury in that sense. Point 4, loans must be fruitful to justify profit. Charging for unfruitful loans where no labor. So if you charge a loan to drink wine, that's unfruitful because you consume it. And you're charging something that's already been consumed, which is a sin. Food, that'd be a sin. It must be productive. What is that? That's business activity. So it must be business activity. So charging for unfruitful loans where no labor, expense, or real risk is involved is condemned. Profits must be from the productive effort or true exposure to loss. And probably the last point, I got 10 points, but the fifth point for this segment is just titles for charging more than the principal. There are just titles. You cannot ask for profit off something that's not productive, but this is what the church will teach, and this is what Alphonsus Liguori talked about. The church recognizes only certain just titles for receiving more than the principal amount, including, hopefully I'm going to pronounce this right, domnum emergens. That's the compensation for actual loss. So if you had to give out a loan and you had to hire people to do the paperwork, yeah, you could charge the loss of what you had to do to get that loan out. Or if, for example, you didn't want to lend out gold and I had to hire a soldier to pick up the gold and transfer the gold, yeah, you could charge for that loss. Point name 2, per reculum sortis. That's a compensation for genuine risk. And the third one is lucrum cessans, is the opportunity cost. We could talk about this next week, but only in commercial settings, not loans, where it's true opportunity costs that took away from a venture that you're invested in. So we could address that next time, and there's a lot of moral restrictions on that, because anybody could justify that, say, oh, I could have made that, when you just want to sit around and lend out money rather than work, labor, and risk.
Wow. Good job on that Latin, too, by the way. Boy, some great wisdom from Alphonsus Liguori there. And from you, too, Drew Blazsik from Adrian College. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Hannah, your last chance to say hi, Mom.
Oh, so close.
Hi, Mom. Thank you for coming in. Have a great day.